Hey guys and girls, it's Blackjack with 396 Guitars. We have a really nice Mexican Telecaster on the bench today. A good customer brought it in. We were going to do a quick setup on it. He attempted to do his own setup, which I applaud him for that after watching me and taking notes and paying attention. It didn't go well for him, but it didn't go well for me the first time I tried either. So I got the setup done mostly, and I realized that there is some nut slots that are too high. Fretting the chords down low, you're going to run into pulling it out of tune. When I measured it, sure enough, got nut slots that need to be filed. Well, let's get to work. Remember, if you dig what I'm doing, like and subscribe. So here's our girl. This one's going to be a little tricky. I want to keep these strings on because we are going to restring it, but I want to keep these strings on while I'm cutting the nut slots if we can. It's got locking tuners on it, really nice locking tuners. It also has Seymour Duncan bridge pickup. I'm not sure. This is probably original to the guitar. So how do we know that when I got to it that we were into the setup? And he mentioned to me, yeah, the intonation up here, well, his description intonation was off, or when he was forming chords here, it didn't sound like it was in tune. That is indicative of, if it's too low, the nut slot, when you pluck the string open, it will buzz. And then when you grab it on the first fret, it will go away. This is the opposite of that. They're actually too tall. And yeah, that's a quick way to check, but the right way to check is either an 18 or a 20. Now when you use a 20, it doesn't buzz at all. So I know it's just way too high. Well, way too high to microns. Same with the A string. That's the 18, and it's not making any noise. So I know I got to do at least those two. Those are the two we're going to do right now. We're going to start with, I don't know if we're going to get enough to pull the string out of there because of the locking tuner. Let's just pull it out, set it aside. It makes it a little more difficult. Usually when you do this, you loosen the string, pull it to the side, cut a little bit, restring it, tune it, and then check again. So let's get the right file. I'm going to say 46 will be fine. So my head is probably going to get in the way, but what we do is we take the file and we're just ever so slightly going to cut that slot for the low E. And don't go too far. Just a little bit at a time, that much. And then we're going to check it again and measure it, or test it, as it were. And these are tricky to get in. The guy that strung it before me didn't leave a whole lot there. But you don't have to tune it up to pitch. You just got to get it tight. And you have to be careful. Don't start grinding off a whole bunch, or I'm going to have to show you how to fill in a nut slot that's too low. So go a little bit at a time. You will know when you get there. Yeah. And try to stay straight to the edge of the board. And every once in a while, grind over the edge so the string can ride over. This is a plastic nut, and most of the material is staying here. Very often with a bone nut or a composite nut, you will see dust gather up here, and that's how you know you're taking a little material off. This one, these are even more tricky. This is the hardest kind to do because it doesn't give you any indication that you're taking any material off. Most of the material ends up sticking right to your file. And believe me, it doesn't take much. Very tedious, very time consuming and repetitive. You have to do it over and over and over again. And the short strings cut way too short are not helping. And it's going to burn up a lot of video time for me to keep putting this in there. The hell. Now, whoever strung it up didn't do it quite right. It's a good example of go home and try it again. You still, even though they're locking tuners, you still want to measure to the next peg and have enough that you have one wrap around there, just for this kind of operation. $20. It's just starting to buzz on the 20. It's not even coming close to the 18. Yeah. Story of my life. Yep. And rinse and repeat. I'm going to pause after this measurement because this will take a while. That's what you want to hear. That's 20. 18, it's just starting to buzz on it. 18 thousandths of an inch. That's what you want to hear. And if we go to the A string with the 18, get it flat under there right in the middle of the fret. I'm going to leave the A. It did. Yeah, just slightly. We got to take the A down too. I'm going to pause there while we cut down the A slightly, not nearly as much as the E. And yeah, you're talking about microns of microns. So stand by for a second. So sure enough, we did the E, A, and D. Perfect. Perfect. Now we go over here, and I'm skipping the 20 and going right to the 18 because that's where we really need to be. Listen. All three of those need to be cut down as well. They're just too tall. Let's see where our tuning is, just to make sure we're at pitch. Check that from time to time, but you do this so often and it's so repetitive that tuning up to pitch is not really necessary as long as you have tension on the string while you're cut, test, cut, measure, cut, measure, cut, test, cut, measure. So I wasn't even close to pitch. You want to make sure you're not buzzing. If you buzz open, you went too far. I like that. Okay, we're going to do the next three. I'll be right back. I like it. What we have, open, just starting to clack, open on the B. And open on the G. I think the B can come down slightly more. We're going to do the B again. E, A, D. I think I'm going to do the B just a little bit more. It just isn't quite grabbing it. And then once we get the string height where we're supposed to be, we'll be perfecto. All right, 17, where are you at? Right there. No, 13. That little bit should have got us right where we need to be. If I can get this string in there one more time. And then we're going to take all the strings off anyway. Because we have to clean up the fretboard and do a full restring it and do a setup. Somebody had stickers. Apparently the previous owner had stickers on here to tell them where all the notes were. I don't think I ever did that, but it happens. I guess when you're first learning. We'll get all that glue and goop off of there. A little ringing. There we go. That's what I wanted to hear. And the G. So we're tuned to pitch. While I have it and freshly cut, I'm going to check the string height so that we'll have that done before we get to the next phase. And I'm sure they're going to be low because when you cut those nut slots down, you're effectively dropping your string height. You follow? And we are, because I had it set at 5/64ths, and they're all down to 4. So we know we're going to have to bring all of the saddles up slightly. That will not affect first fret action or your nut action. So easy enough. I think it was 1.5 on there. We're going to raise them all up a half a turn. Right? And then we're going to check them one by one. And And that will be it for this installment. This was just to do the nut slot, which while I was doing the setup, which was supposed to be a quick while you wait setup, led me to that issue. But these things happen, and you have to be prepared for it. Right. That should get me closer to 5/64ths. Almost. Yep, it all came up. It's still just under 5/64ths, but like I said, we're going to de-string it. We're going to clean it. We are going to re-string it, and then we'll do the final fine-tuning here. We already set the truss rod with the customer earlier. So that's it for today. That's how you file down nut slots and get them to where it's acceptable. You know, this little thing here where you're tapping, that's okay, but that's not going to get you any kind of a measurement. All right, so that's my rant on cutting nut slots. Blackjack with 396 guitars. If you dig what I'm doing, like and subscribe. Those of you that have, I appreciate your support. We'll talk soon.